Hey gearheads, and welcome to Garage Talk. I'm Corey and that is Ford's Bronco Raptor. For 2023, one like this will run you north of $95,000. And in this video, I'm going to talk about whether or not living with something like this daily is better than something like, oh, I don't know, the Mercedes that we're currently testing. Stay tuned. All right, gearheads, this is the third Ford Bronco that we've tested. We've also driven the Outer Banks and the Everglades, but this is the one that's been most anticipated here by me. This is the Bronco Raptor. This thing is insane, and I will go ahead and say this is a 2022 model. For 2023, not too much has changed outside of the availability of this blue paint color, which you can't get, and the price tag, which has gone way up. I'll get it out of the way right up front. The price tag of this one, this 2022 model, is $81,000. We'll get to what a comparable 23 model will cost you a little bit later on, because shocker, it's very close to what the Mercedes GLE we're testing is. But I do want to thank Ford for bringing this one to us for a week's worth of testing. It is July 4th weekend as I record this. It is very warm. You will see we do have the top off, but let's talk about this thing. This thing is ridiculous, and given that this is the third Bronco we've tested, I can point out some of the things that make it so different, both on-road and off-road, than the other two that we have tested already. But first, I do want to pop this hood and show you what's underneath. This is Ford's 3-liter V6. It is an Ecoboost twin turbocharged V6. And it makes north of 400 horsepower. So it's 418 horsepower, 440 pound-feet of torque, mated to Ford's 10-speed automatic transmission. So going back to that Mercedes-Benz GLE that we were testing, it has a 3-liter turbocharged inline six, get the words out, making 429 horsepower and 413 pound-feet of torque. So when it comes to on-road performance, very similar numbers in a vehicle that weighs quite a bit less than this giant Bronco. But I do want to call out something that makes this hood situation very different than the other two Broncos we tested, and those are the gas struts holding this one up. Normally we have prop rods on a Ford Bronco holding the hood up, and this one also, as you can see above that Ford Performance logo under the hood, this one has air ducting to get heat out of this engine bay. We also have these fender vents here on the side with some exit points for that hot air on both sides of the vehicle. So a lot letting heat out of the front of this vehicle. I'll go ahead and close it. You can see, yes, we get this black panel up top with all the heat extractors on it. We do have a few Easter eggs here of the different years that the Bronco has won Baja races, which is exactly what this thing is built for, Baja racing, fast off-road fun. Coming up front, you can tell there's a lot different going on with this one. From the Ford in the grille, not Bronco spelled out, but Ford in the grille, the 3 marker lights should tell you, if you've been watching the channel for a while, this thing is over 80 inches wide. So the DOT mandates those 3 amber marker lights in the middle. And if you look up there on the rear view mirrors, also corner marker lights on the outside of the vehicle as well. This one has a very unique light signature. So we've got all LED lights up front, LED running lights, headlights, all that, but this one gets amber running lights up front. So you can definitely tell this thing is a Raptor just by the lighting signature back behind you. This one also has rigid LED fog lights on it as well. I won't get into a lot of the off-road specs of this one because I have already taken this one off-road and get into a lot of those details there. But we do have a modular steel front bumper where you can take these end caps off right here. Go ahead and point that out. So yes, these do come off, but not so from the factory. We do have full underbody protection on this thing as well. So lots of steel underbody protection. Go ahead and come down and show you. We've got that steel bash plate, those recovery hooks. We have improved approach and departure angles. So approach is 47.2, breakover is 30.8, departure is 40.5, maximum ground clearance is 13.1 inches, and it can ford up to 37 inches of water. So this thing is quite impressive and is, as I mentioned, quite wide. So one of the biggest and most obvious things about this are these over fenders that have to go over these 37 by 12 inch BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. You can see, yes, I have already been off-road in this one. Good old red dirt of East Texas. These G.O.A.T have definitely seen a lot of punishment, not only by me, but by some other journalists, because I do believe this 2022 model is nearing its end of life at nearly 18,000 miles on the clock. That is a lot for a press vehicle like this, and it lives a very rough life. You can see we did unfortunately meet a little bit of some rock issues on the trail, but that is to be expected. This thing is an off-road vehicle. These are beadlock capable 17-inch wheels wrapped in these 37 by 12 inch BF Goodrich all-terrain tires. They are very nice, very capable when it comes to off-roading. And then we can peek back behind here and see the Fox shocks. We have 13 inches of travel up front here, 14 inches of travel in the rear. We have remote reservoirs in the rear and integrated reservoirs here on the front. Coming around to the side, say hi to Tucker over there, chilling in his car seat. We'll get to him here in a little bit. But moving around to the side, you can see we do have the doors and the roof panels off. These front panels, there are two singular panels that come off very easily, just 4 latches each. And then back here, this entire back panel is all one piece, again, 4 latches to remove that. All of those can be handled by one person very easily. They're just kind of awkward to carry. This being the Raptor does get an additional cross member here in the middle. Most Broncos have a wide open sky in between the front and second row of seats, and we've got some additional reinforcements up there in the back as well. I did leave the back panel on this one, but this really shows one of the advantages of the Bronco platform over its Wrangler competition, because you have 3 removable panels before you have to worry about this roof section. We'll show you what it takes to get this roof section off here in a little bit. Coming out to the side, you can see we do have some steel and textured running boards attached to the steel rock sliders there, so that's very nice. And then we're going to go ahead and peek in here at the remote reservoir rear Fox shocks. Very capable in their own right, but very wide fenders on this. In fact, the back doors even get a little bit of fender on them, which is not something that you usually see. We'll talk more about the interior here in a little bit, but I find it interesting. Ford allows this part to be easily removed and replaced, because if you were to catch and grab something on these very wide fenders, that's exactly where you would do it. We also have the Raptor graphics package on ours, so that's an optional extra. Being that we have the doors off on ours, I do want to call out that this does have a proximity key with remote release, and that is on the front doors and the back hinge gate here, which is not my favorite because you really had to pull it open to overpower this gas strut and really put some muscle behind it. A lot of that has to do with the fact that you do have a 37-inch tall tire hanging off of the back of your vehicle back here. Otherwise, it's pretty standard fare for Bronco back here, except for that Ford Performance extra bracing that goes along back here. So all of this right here is additional bracing for the Raptor, just to make it more strong and rigid. Closing the back window and closing that, you can see here that we do have upgraded tail lights. Being that it is over 80 inches wide, we need the 3 lights mandated by the D.O.A.T. And if you look on the rear view mirrors here, the corner lights are the red lights up front here. So you still get all the government mandated lighting here on this one, even with its removable roof, even with the fenders that stick way out. And then we do have this steel bumper back here and dual exit exhaust that is couple of turn downs. Now, I mentioned there are a few other things that make this thing very unique from other Broncos that we've tested. A lot of that goes with the engine and the suspension, but you can tell it from these fender flares, the fender vents, the hood. And then this actually has an aluminum body on it. So you really can't tell that from videos, and I haven't seen a lot of people talking about it, but I normally put magnets with my logo on press vehicles that I test. These are actually aluminum panels. They did not hold my magnets, so I had to go with my larger window cling decals to stick on this one. So they are acknowledging that the Bronco is a heavy vehicle, and they're trying to bring down the weight as much as possible, which brings us to the doors here. They are light and easy to remove. The front doors are bigger and about 10 pounds heavier than the back doors, but all the way around, it's a very easy process to remove them. You just unhook the power outlet right here, and then you have 2 bolts here, and then you can lift and remove them. Makes it very easy. I will go ahead and note, this is in all 4 door jambs. Just something you should be aware of if you plan on removing the doors and driving around. But this is a very fun open air vehicle. Ours does have the upgraded leather package, so we get this navy blue and code orange interior on this one. I love it. As a Houston Astros fan, I really love it. We've got the suede look here with Raptor. We've got the orange accents here in the middle, and the optional $400, $395 to be precise, code orange seat belts. Love it, love it, love it. We do have power seats. They aren't memory, but they are power. That's something you had to get a 24 Jeep Wrangler to find in a Jeep. The dash is also navy and code orange with some fake stitching up here. Very nice. We're gonna go ahead and yeah, let's go ahead and pop in this one, and we'll turn off the hazards, fire it up. Vehicle is on, and show you, you know, typical Ford startup process. I will say another unique thing about the Raptor version is we get the F-150's full digital gauge cluster. I did not realize how much I hated the standard Bronco gauge cluster until I spent some time with this one. I wasn't so much a fan the first F-150 we had with this digital gauge cluster, but I really like it here in the Bronco, especially considering the alternatives. It's very easy to read, and a little bit on the customizable side. We do get the 12-inch infotainment system here with sync, but otherwise it is fairly typical Bronco in here. We do get a much thicker rimmed steering wheel with code orange top dead center marker, some carbon fiber accents on this one, so it does stand out a little bit. And then we have all these buttons here for your exhaust mode. You can change it to normal, sport, Baja, or quiet. Very nice there. You can change your suspension settings, your steering settings, and you can preset here with the R button exactly what you want. You get all your hero buttons up here: traction control, off, trail turn assist, locking rear, locking front diffs, and stabilizer bar disconnect. Those were fun off-road. We do also get 7 G.O.A.T modes in this one. Think of them as off-road presets. I'll go ahead and go through them here. We have normal, we have off-road, we have Baja, we have rock crawl, and then going over here to the left, we have sport, tow haul, and slippery. So those will change everything from your hero buttons up here, what's engaged, disengaged, to your electronic 2-speed transfer case. It'll handle all of that and really put you in the optimum position for whatever situation you are in off-road. For this review, we're going to be doing normal and sport. You can see here we've got all of our typical controls. I'm not going to go too into detail because a lot of this is standard fare for Bronco, but I do want to call out the camera button on this one. It does give you a 360 with a forward, or if you're in reverse, rear camera layout here. Let me go ahead and push that camera button. Again, I will call out though, I find it very humorous or interesting because of the rear, or the wheels sit so far out, you actually can see the real actual tires here on the Bird's Eye 360, which is not something you normally see on Bird's Eye 360. I just don't feel like Ford is utilizing this 12-inch screen to the best of their ability. I do feel like they can do a whole lot more with the cameras. I will say, depending on what G.O.A.T mode you're in, it will automatically trigger some of these cameras for you, including this 180-degree front or 180-degree rear. You can see we can do a less wide view here, or we can do our 360. There are some options there. Ours also has a Qi wireless charger here that works better than most. I've barely had to fiddle with it, but you can also plug in for a USB-A or USB-C interface with the Sync 4 system here in this one. I want to make sure I'm in park, because now we're going to pop out and come to the rear seats. These are also leather wrapped, two-tone, and we do get a pull down center armrest with 2 cup holders. And this one, they are 60/40 fold flat, and helps if I fold the headrest down. Got all these headrests up because of Tucker, but they are relatively fold flat, I should say, because there is a little bit of a bump right there. And you can see the seat bottom actually does fold flatter into the floor to achieve that. These are slightly reclining seats as well, so you can get a little bit of a recline in that one. And then I promised showing you what it would take to get this rear roof section off. It isn't a whole lot, but it does take the tools that come with it. So we've got some screws right there. We've got 4 large ones, looks like 2 small ones on each side. So Ford really wants to make sure that doesn't go anywhere. And then we have our hookup for our washer fluid here. Let's get that white balance. We've got washer fluid and electrical here for that rear wiper. Other than that, it is a pretty easy process. I have not yet removed it, but we'll see what the future holds for us here. Now, talking about the price tag, again, for 2023, one like this would run you nearly $97,000. And I will note, this is a flat spare back here, but every time you close the door, that just seems a little cheap for me. There are a few things around here as well, like this, very wobbly, and just some of the materials in here that if you're paying nearly $100,000 for a vehicle, kind of has me questioning, is this what I would buy if I'm gonna live with it on-road more often than I am off-road? This is an off-road beast, but let's face it, there are a lot of people that buy these as mall crawler mobiles, as posers. And if you are looking to spend $96,000 for a poser mobile, maybe you stick around for that Mercedes review when it drops a little bit later. But let's get behind the wheel of this one, see what Tucker thinks of it, see what I think of it. Let's go for a drive. All right, gearheads, setting off in the Ford Bronco Raptor. Yep. I've got Tucker with me.
Yep, that's me.
Not normally with me in my solo reviews, but you know, life happens sometimes, and he gets to review this one with me. And this one is fast. Tucker, you like fast ones, right?
Uh-huh.
So I'm gonna go ahead and put it into sport, which does keep it in two-wheel drive.
Yeah, and I also like
all right, here we go.
Broncos that have
roofs removed. All right, let's see how fast this is.
And doors removed.
60. Woo! This is a fun one, isn't it, Tucker?
Yeah.
So, like you said, you like being able to take off the top and the doors, which is why you're riding in the middle, right? Is that why?
I also like cars that get right in the middle.
Yeah, because you can see out better, right?
Yeah, just like Nelly Cruz.
Yep, just like my normal car, Nelly Cruz. But
That, which is a Chevy.
yep, and this one is a Ford
Bronco.
You're right. And what kind of Bronco is this, Tucker? Is it a Raptor?
It's a Raptor.
Yeah, it's a Raptor. So while we are in this one, while we're in sport, it's a good time to call out that it...
Daddy really wants to keep this.
Yes, I do. All right, so while we're in this one, while we're in sport, it's a good time to call out that changes the suspension, it changes the steering and the exhaust, among many other things. This is a much sportier version than any other Bronco you would buy, and it is quite fun on curvy, twisty East Texas back roads, which I have found right here. I don't normally test off-road vehicles on this drive path, but much like with the Ram TRX, of which this shares a lot of similarities, here we are. It really is Texas's sports car, being that it is also a convertible. I mean, it is Texas's sports car.
You should see the strap.
Yeah.
Look, it's bouncing around.
And with
I keep on getting the wet.
Yep. And with the doors and roof off, it just makes for a very unique and interesting driving experience, especially with over 400 horsepower on tap. And what the TRX didn't have is two-wheel drive. So this thing is in rear-wheel drive right now. So that little bit of acceleration we just did, well, it was rear-wheel drive, not all-wheel drive. I will say, though, some downsides of this as an on-road vehicle, I'm going to go ahead and put it back into normal drive mode because it is holding those gears. One of the downsides to this as an everyday driver that isn't taken off-road is the width of this thing. So yes, they jacked it up. Yes, they pushed those wheels out to the corner for better stability. But just like you could see the rear view mirrors, or you could see the tires in that 360 camera view earlier, the wheels are pushed very far out in this. And so having the doors off, I can finally see where the actual corners of this vehicle are. It's a very unique, interesting driving experience. And it is a little compromised for on-road use. But again, I bring up, how many of these do you think are regularly being taken off-road versus being poser on-road vehicles? Yes, a lot of these are really going to be seeing this as their normal driving life, driving scenarios. Not so much in the red dirt like I've experienced in this one already, in which you will be able to see soon. Most people are going to be driving in the city, in the country, on road in this thing, and that's where this thing is a bit compromised. Ford put all of their money into its off-road dynamics, off-road behavior. This thing is fast and fun off-road. I can speak from experience, but when it comes to on-road, some of the benefits of it are the removable doors and roof, and just how quick it is, and that's about where it stops. Yes, the engine makes it very fun. It is a very fast vehicle, but with similar power numbers to that smaller and lighter Mercedes-Benz GLE 53 that I told you we are simultaneously testing with this one. Quick pause from driving real quick because I do want to just give a little perspective. So Ford Bronco Raptor that we are driving, 2023 model, would cost $97,000. 2024 Mercedes AMG GLE 53 Coupe, sticker price for this one is $94,000. You can see we do have the adjustable suspension, 21-inch wheels and tires, and a very luxurious cabin in this one with leather and suede seats. They're heated, they're ventilated, 3-person memory. But coming back over to the Bronco, you get, well, a Ford interior. It's nice, you know, I showed you earlier, we've got the leather and the suede, but there are just some things about it that really remind you this is a Ford Bronco that is really upfitted for some serious off-road use. So when it comes down to my decision for spending $90,000+ on this or $90,000+ on that, well, that really has more of an everyday value or an everyday return than something like this would, which I do live close to Barnwell, but I'm not going to be bringing this out every single day of the week, whereas riding in luxurious comfort in that Mercedes is something that would happen much more often. Food for thought. Let me know down in the comments, which would you prefer out of these two? Similar price tag, similar powertrain, completely different approach. So I ask you, if you're spending nearly $100,000 on a vehicle, how much is the look and character of it a factor, and how much of it is the driving and luxurious factor of it playing into your decision to buy it. Is this thing better than that Mercedes-Benz AMG G.O.A.T 53 Coupe? In some regards, yes, it is absolutely better. It is by far the better off-roader and will definitely turn more heads. Is it the better on-road vehicle? That one's up for debate. I want to hear more about that debate down in the comments below. If you want to see more from Tucker, from his mommy, my wife, from Holly, be sure and hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so that you don't miss those reviews when they drop later this week. It will be a lot of fun. Tucker, what are your overall thoughts of this vehicle so far?
Well, I like the orange strap because orange is close to the color red.
Yep. And red's your favorite color, right?
White.
And orange and navy is my favorite.
And I like the red where that says Bronco.
Yep, up here on the front. So yes, we will hear more from Tucker and from Holly in our family review. You'll be able to see what it's like putting his child's safety seat in the back of this, and you'll see what this is like actually in city traffic versus here on the curvy back roads of East Texas. Find us on all social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube. Everything is at GT Garage Talk, or you can go to gtgaragetalk.com where you can read more about this and every other vehicle we've tested. But as for me and Tucker in the Bronco Raptor, until next time, gearheads, bye. Is fun. All right. Thank you for helping me record. What, buddy?
I'm gonna hurry up because I'm going to play on my person.
I know, buddy. I know you are.